Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Well, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal!
Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV, where I have to say, unfortunately, welcome to an empty Cardiff City Stadium, because once again we are back behind closed doors for Championship football. That means myself and John Donovan for you this afternoon, back to the bad old days of a year ago. We have Blackburn Rovers visiting us, which ironically were one of the early fixtures back in July 2020 in the initial behind closed doors period of football as well. Better news, of course, is that it looks like at least this is a one-off in terms of Championship football for Cardiff here, and we will be able to welcome fans again in a fortnight's time when we expect to host Nottingham Forest here 2 weeks today. Already mentioned, joined by John Donovan for the first segment of this afternoon's pre-match feature. Delighted to say we're joined by Joe Ledley as well this afternoon, so he'll be jumping on for the second part of this pre-match show and also for live commentary this afternoon with myself as we host Tony Mowbray's Blackburn Rovers here to Cardiff City Stadium. John, 6 days removed, trying to do my maths there, from an encouraging, I'd say, FA Cup performance against Preston. People might scoff. It was an awkward afternoon. It went to extra time. There wasn't a great deal of quality on display, but I think I agree with Steve Morrison's assessment that there were far more positives than there were negatives for the afternoon.
I think so. I think certainly in the first half, what I liked is Blackburn. We're playing them today. Preston started quickly. The first 5 minutes or so, they dominated possession, and I wondered whether that was setting the tone. And what I liked was Cardiff adjusted a little bit. They adjusted their central midfielders to press wide and engage, and then they had a central defender coming up and stepping into a midfield area. They made their line a little higher, more aggressive, and they really condensed the pitch. They started winning far more second ball, and from that they built a platform to play on. The second half was a bit messy. It was a bit ugly. But what I continue to like about Steve Morrison and Steve Morrison's team, and I include his backroom team in that, they make adjustments that affect games, and I'm all for that. He's a young manager, of course he's raw, and of course there are going to be mistakes, etc., but he wants to affect games with his decisions. And I thought in the first half last week against Preston, first 10 minutes they dominated the ball. Adjustments were made, particularly in the way that Pack and Vokes engaged, and from that Cardiff built a platform, and probably in the grand scheme of things deserved to win, and really encouraging to see Mark Harris get that winning goal. We've been championing him all season. Ash, Steve Morrison spoke about him during the week that he needs to bring consistency to starting games, and hopefully that'll be the launch pad for him.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting point actually, Steve Morrison. We'll hear, of course, from the manager as ever here on pre-match in a few minutes' time. But he spoke in his pre-match press conference about how he thought Mark Harris was far more effective coming off the bench earlier in the season, and he's starting to learn how to start games. He gets a start this afternoon, so the team news for Cardiff then this afternoon, if we have a graphic to go along with this, it is that debutant Cody Drammer comes straight in to start. We expect in the right wing back position, and that means Perry and G switching across to the left, which I think is pretty much what we expected. There's a new look midfield trio. Ryan Wintle comes in for his first Championship start in a Cardiff shirt. He will be joining captain again Joe Ledley and Will Vokes in the middle of the park, and then Mark Harris and James Collins as a strike pairing. There seems a bit more of a balance about that 11 than what we've maybe seen try to be shoehorned in recent weeks.
I like the look of it. I still expect Cardiff to look at a left wing back, because I think they want to go down both sides, and that's no disrespect to Perry NG, but I think in this system that you're playing, when your wing backs are your widest players and have to be perhaps your most aggressive attacking players, whether that be someone who was formerly on loan at the club, whether that be somebody else, I still expect Cardiff to be in the market for a left wing back, but I do think there's better balance to it. Ryan Wintle, I was very impressed with when he came on against Preston last weekend. I actually thought he was better in the more advanced of the midfield roles, and then when I think Marlon Pack was substituted, he dropped back. but I think he's one of those players, I mentioned it in under 23 commentary in the week, so different when a player can get on the half turn quickly. They're not receiving the ball with their back to the opposition. I think he moved the ball quicker than I've seen many Cardiff City midfielders move it perhaps this season, and I think that might be a nice foil for Joe Rawls. So really excited about seeing Ryan Wintnall this afternoon. And yeah, I do think that's a quite a balanced lineup, and despite the youth on the bench, I also think that's quite a strong bench as well.
And if you're looking at the opposition, what we're going to go up against, it's a very, very settled Blackpool team. We're going to talk a little bit with Blackburn with Joe Ledley in a few minutes' time, but we know what you're going to get from Blackburn, and they don't play with the 10. They play with the two players with the energy to break from midfield and get forward. And obviously Steve Morrison's looked at that and thought, Wintnall, Volks, they're going to give me legs alongside Joe Rawls as the ball player in there.
I think it's a great point because Brereton Diaz is the focal point with 20 plus goals, and what a fantastic achievement for him. But it's not a case of him having to do it all himself. They flood the midfield. They did it in the 4-0, 5-0 debacle, 5-1. You try and put those days behind you back in the early part of the season. They flooded players from midfield that sort of took centre-halves away, opened up channels, opened up lanes for Brereton Diaz and others to go into. Glad to see that Dolan's not playing. I like Dolan. He's injured. He's out. I know he's been starting from the bench in recent weeks. But yeah, I do really like the way that Tony Mowbray gets his midfielders to break the line, go forward, and it just confuses centre-halves. And then it opens up space, it causes commotion. Cardiff need to be really wary about that today, and to your point, Ash, it looks like we've gone for legs in midfield, and I can completely understand that.
Thanks, John. As ever, well, we've already mentioned him, Cody Drammer, first signing of the January window for the Bluebirds, first signing for Steve Morrison since being named as manager. He starts this afternoon. Let's hear what the young man has to say, having joined for Cardiff City.
Cody, welcome to Cardiff City. How does it feel to have signed for the club on loan?
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Finally, it's a great feeling. I'm really excited to get going.
Obviously, you'll be joining us for the remainder of this season now. What was it that made you want to spend that time with the Bluebirds?
Well, it's a great club, first of all. The club, from the first minute we were linked with each other, they showed that real eagerness to get me in. So as a player, that's always great to hear. And just to play games regularly for the club, that's what I'm here for.
Of course, you've met the manager, and I'm sure you've met some of the players already. Are you looking forward to getting more involved with the setup here over the coming months then?
Yeah, definitely. It seems like a smooth ship. Everyone seems to be really together. So hopefully I can be a part of that.
Of course, there have been mentions of you on social media linked up with the club. For those unfamiliar with you as a player, what is it that you hope to bring to the team?
You know what, for me, I think actions speak louder than words. So hopefully when you see me, I think you'll see my quality and see what I can bring to the table.
Obviously, there'll be no supporters here this Saturday, but I imagine you are really looking forward to getting in front of the City faithful.
Definitely, I'm really excited to meet the fans. They bring a great noise, and we could really use that as a team. So I'm really excited to hopefully meet them when I do.
So now you're really looking forward to just kicking on with the rest of the campaign?
Yeah, really excited to get going and play as many games as I can and hopefully help the team.
Cody Drammer there, who recently signed from Leeds United on loan for the rest of the season and goes straight into the Cardiff starting 11 this afternoon for this game against Blackburn. Welcome back, I'm delighted to say, joined by Joe Ledley, 257 Cardiff appearances. That's ingrained in my head for some reason, so I'm going to use the stat every time you're on with us. Delighted to have you back. Last time we had you on, it was a difficult old evening. Cardiff were very much still in patchy form. I think there's fair to say there's been an upswing in performance and getting points on the board since then.
Yeah, definitely, and that's credit to obviously Steve Morrison coming in with the side of play he's brought to this team. Obviously, playing a lot more possession-based football, playing out from the back, using the wing backs, and playing free at the back, which has been impressive. Obviously, hopefully we can transform that into points at the end of the day, which we're more than capable of doing because the performances and the players we have here is fantastic to see, especially these young players coming through.
I think the question mark maybe for Cardiff at the moment is that just haven't had a run of fixtures. It's been so, not just Cardiff, it's been so disjointed, isn't it, the calendar. We were talking when you were with us last time, no midweek fixtures in December, no midweek fixtures in January, games called off, so you've had these long periods. So inevitably there's a bit of rustiness, isn't there?
Yeah, there will be, of course, and especially like you said, that's normally not like Championship football, not having midweek games, because it's relentless really with the fixtures. But it's a difficult time for Cardiff, especially this period, and without fans it's crying out for fans to be here. It's devastating, because the atmosphere that they create here at the stadium is fantastic, and obviously the players will want it just as much as the fans. But yes, it's a difficult period at the end of the day. I'm sure Steve Morrison might be delighted to work on the training ground more, but it's an impressive victory against Preston in the cup, and we're talking about cup runs, and what a run they've got now against Liverpool. So it's important now, though, at the end of the day, that they can transform that into points and hopefully get the 3 points today against a very good Blackburn team.
And if we isolate the last two games from a Cardiff point of view, the draw at West Brom, the game against Preston, two very much a case of just job done for Cardiff, wasn't it? They got exactly what they needed to out of those two games.
Yeah, obviously that's the most important thing this sort of time of the season. Obviously, fans want performances and putting in a good performance, but at the end of the day, it's about getting the job done, and that's the most important thing. And that's hopefully they can do the same again today and get the 3 points. But it's going to be very difficult, and credit to the team. I think they've been fantastic over the last two games. Like you said, West Brom away, to get a point there is vital.
Difficult afternoon ahead. We've had a difficult run of fixtures. You think the last three fixtures now: Bournemouth, West Brom, Blackburn, three of the top four in the division. And we were talking off air just before we came on. Blackburn just going great guns at the moment. It's testament to the job that Tony Mowbray's doing. Hasn't always been a fan favourite up there as a manager, but he's really turned the tide there. 9 games unbeaten, really hot on the heels of Bournemouth and Fulham, and it's only because Bournemouth and Fulham have been so consistent that Blackburn aren't in the top two themselves.
Yeah, and that's a credit to Tony Mowbray, what he's done to this team. Like you say, he's been under pressure from day one since he's come in, and that's credit to him and his backroom staff, and the position they're in the league is unbelievable. And like I said, that's a credit to him, and Cardiff are up against a very good organised Blackburn team today, so it's going to be interesting to see how they both plan out, because for me, the way Cardiff play as well, they can hurt Blackburn.
We have to mention Brett Berrington-Diaz, 20 goals this season. It's difficult to judge, isn't it? You see it in the Championship sometimes. These players from out of nowhere just go on this tear for one season and are just unstoppable and just ride this wave of momentum. Or you can look at it with him and say he's still only 22, which is actually astonishing and easy to forget, because he's played Championship football for so long already. But he's just oozed quality this season, hasn't he?
Oh, he's been fantastic. I think if you look at him, he's the outlet at Blackburn. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Premier League teams looking at him at the moment, and he's an international player as well, and that's a credit to the way he's played. Like you said, he's been here a long time, and Cardiff's got to be careful of what he brings to the table, because once you get in those positions, he can finish as well.
If we're talking about balance of the team, I was talking to John about I think I like the look of the balance of the Cardiff midfield three this afternoon. The legs the Volks and Wintle will provide you alongside Rawls, and I think it's imperative, isn't it? Because Blackburn are a really settled 11 at the moment. Not conceding goals, just 1 goal conceded in the last 7 games, 6 clean sheets. And in terms of their midfield balance, they don't play with a 10. They've switched to this 2 up top formation, and they just have 2 men breaking from midfield all the time to go and join the front two. So it's going to need to be a disciplined performance from Cardiff.
Yeah, it is, and you can see the way Steve Morrison has picked his team. For me, it's vital to have Rawls back. He's a great player for Cardiff. He has been over many of years. He's experienced as well. He attracts his man, and like you said, that stat from Blackburn is unbelievable in this league, because you see how many goals which are conceded from set plays or during open play, but I think with Rawls and Volks in there as well, and I think there's a good balance in the team for Cardiff, and like I say, it's going to be a very interesting game. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be a great battle. I'm just hopefully the fans will be here soon.
Yeah, hopefully, as we said, hopefully the Cardiff fans will be back in time for that Nottingham Forest game in a fortnight's time. It looks good. If we look at the Blackburn, the run they've gone on, obviously you couldn't get a more different predicament to what Cardiff find themselves in at the moment, the wrong end of the table, just outside the bottom 3, Blackburn just outside the top 2. but it does show. If you look at the teams that Blackburn have beaten in these last month and a half, they're teams that they would have expected to beat, and it just shows, doesn't it? Championship football, you can go on that run to just solidify your position.
It can easily be done, and once you get on that run, you can see the progress from where you are in the league. It can put you right up the table, and that's what happens in this championship. Once you get a run and you keep all of it, you fly up the league, and it's vital that Cardiff now can hopefully, with that win against Preston in the Cup, can kick on. And you never know, you end up pushing and you leave those people behind, and that's the beauty of the championship. It's an amazing league to be in. It's very difficult, we know that, especially the standard now has gone way up from where I was a few years back, and hopefully that we can continue this run and hopefully get a win.
Finally then, before we go to commentary, just talk about Mark Harris. Actually, we're going to hear from Steve Morrison in a minute or so, and he spoke about Mark Harris in the week, and I've spoken to John, and he said he thought he was more effective off the bench, Steve Morrison said earlier this season, and he's starting to learn how to influence games from the start at the championship level. He came off the bench a week ago against Preston, used all of his assets in terms of his energy and his movement, and caused problems for Preston. What does he need to do to implement that from the start this afternoon?
Yeah, you can see what he brought to the table when he come off the bench, and for me, these youngsters, I've watched Cardiff a few times this season, and they've been unbelievable. And that's a credit to them. They really have stepped up to the table, and it's vital that once you get in that starting sort of 11, you need to stay there and continue and progress. And I think this team is very talented, and it's just about going out there and putting performances. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure on them, but embrace it and enjoy it, because it goes so fast. I can tell you that. And it's great to see, and I'm hoping now we can get the win today, because they can push us on, and then look forward to Bristol City, which is another local derby.
Absolutely, thank you very much, Joe. Joe is sticking around this afternoon, and like to say, and will join me on commentary in 13 minutes time here on Cardiff City TV, live coverage of ourselves and Blackburn Rovers. Again, we don't want to be doing this, quite frankly, behind closed doors here this afternoon against Blackburn. Let's hope it's a one-off. It looks like being a one-off in terms of championship football for this season. We would be delighted to have you all back here for Nottingham Forest, but if you are tuning in this afternoon on Cardiff City TV, we thank you very much for doing so. Let's throw over to manager Steve Morrison to hear what he has to say in the build-up to this game, and then we'll have live coverage on the other side of these messages.
Yeah, he's an attacking, athletic, quick fullback. Leeds really like him. See him as one of their high potential players. Yeah, just someone who is coming to help us out, and hopefully he can add some add something to us on the pitch. So yeah, really pleased. Obviously, his first time playing at championship level. So we'll see how he gets on.
I mean, there's been some positives in recent games, but we're in a tough little spell of fixtures here with Bournemouth, West Brom, and Blackburn. I mean, it doesn't get too much harder than that. So we're just really focusing now to get as much as we can out of every game, and it's going to be a tough second half of the season. The first half has not gone how we all would have wanted it to, but I think we have definitely shown signs of improvement recently, and there's things to still be positive about.
Yeah, they're a really good team. They're a really good team. Got some excellent players. Got the second top goal scorer in the league as well. So yeah, we're going to need to be on our game, and yeah, we just need to be the best version of ourselves to get the result. So that's what we'll be planning on being.
I mean, there's some top strikers in this league who have or will be playing in the Premier League at some point in their career. So that's what we're up against, and we've got to try and come out on top of those battles as many times as we possibly can. But that's sometimes easier said than done. It's going to be a big team effort to do so.
I think competition brings out the best in everybody. I think you can see that, and I don't think we've had enough competition here. It's been too set in just like these people would play when they're fit, and this happens. That now it's kind of you want to push and get the best out of people, and us asking and demanding only goes so far. But seeing someone sitting next to you in the dressing room that's trying to take your place adds a natural competition, and hopefully bringing the likes of Cody, and we'll see people step up their game, and then obviously we'll keep pushing each other, and then obviously everyone knows they're one game away now from not playing.
The team spirit here is one of the key things. You know, we've got a real core of senior players who look after the young lads, and everyone's really tight. And although there's that little bit of an age gap, it sort of works in our favour with that sort of youthfulness and energy from the younger lads, and the senior lads bringing them along and you know, helping them at times in games when they might need it. And I think talent-wise, we're definitely there, and I think the spirit in the dressing room is definitely there. And nothing's ever handed to you in football, and it's not going to be easy. But we've certainly got enough here to you know, get safe in this league this season.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Jennison puts Kenny Miller through one-on-one with Bud. Miller scores!
That's all about taking your chances there, Mark.
Drives it low and scores! Will Volks, Cardiff City 1, Blackburn Rovers 0.
That's what you wanted. Just enough, wasn't it? Just that little back heel by Harry Wilson. Just takes out the man lying behind the wall, and then his laces, keeps it down. Too much power, no chance for the goalkeeper. There we go, just that little roll, takes the wall out, and he hits it.
Very poor, in fact, from low. Whitman's able to gather and so on the halfway line, assess what's ahead of him. Good ball, picks up Jazz Richards. Now here's Toilet. Right-footed first time cross, Zohor, goal! And it's a lovely finish on the volley for Kenneth Zohor with his left foot, his 7th of the season. This man just keeps getting better.
He's on absolute fire, Mark. What a finish that is from Ken. Can't take anything away from Hoyler. What a ball. You know, absolutely incredible ball in the box. Zohor started that. He's got the ball out wide onto the right, and he's met it superbly. City League, brilliant finish, Kenneth Zohor. Right. He's in here. Can he finish it off? Yes, he can. He stretches
Might sound like a pretty long time, but if you're an idea, a dream, a belief, then 80 years is just the beginning.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Oh, shooting opportunity. Oh, it's brilliant. Morrison, goal!
Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV, where I have to welcome you, unfortunately, to an empty Cardiff City stadium. For what we hope, and every indication suggests there will be a one-off this time around, as a behind closed doors. Championship fixture between the Bluebirds and high-flying Blackburn Rovers at the moment, sat third in the table, hot on the heels of a red-hot front two in terms of Fulham and Bournemouth. Cardiff, of course, we know the story, we know the tale of the tape at the wrong end of the table, and trying to accumulate points as quickly as possible to ease any serious relegation fears. Delighted to say, joined by former Cardiff City player Joe Ledley this afternoon on commentary. He was with us pre-match as well, and like myself, anticipating what should be an intriguing but also an entertaining game of football between the two teams, which hasn't always been the case.
No, it hasn't. Yeah, looking forward to this. Obviously, you know, you see the likes of Blackburn, who are at the top end of the table and absolutely flying over the recent games, and you know, Cardiff, we all know, is you know, at the wrong end of the table, the ability they have in the team. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think they're both going to set out similar formation as well, and it's about who wins the individual battles.
The last home game between these two teams here, this stadium, was also unfortunately played behind closed doors. It was one of those early games in July 2020 after the initial football closure period. A 2-2 draw on that evening. Will Vaulks netting a late goal of the season award winner on that occasion with a very audacious chip. We followed that up with, of course, the goal from halfway against Brentford the last season that won the goal of the season award as well. He's running a two-year back-to-back campaign on that. We take one this afternoon, and Will Vaulks is back in the team this afternoon as well. Not to bury the team news, but Cody Drammer as well, new signing on loan from Leeds United, comes straight in to play in the wing-back position. The games between these two teams tend to be more entertaining here at Cardiff City Stadium than they do at Ewood Park, where we have a long history of turgid draws, quite frankly. But it was anything but in the reverse fixture, of course, this season. A 5-1 defeat for Cardiff City, and in a season of low points, it was certainly up there as the lowest. But more than anything, it just showed you how dangerous this Blackburn team under Tony Mowbray can be if you don't get your attitude right, and tactically if you don't get it spot on as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was just speaking to my former teammate then, Bradley Johnson, and he was talking about Tony Mowbray, how constantly he works his team on the training pitch. He said he's done his homework on Cardiff today, so it'll be interesting to see how they set out. And you know, he's a very experienced manager. You know, he'll do his homework on Cardiff and know where to hurt us. So yeah, and that's a credit to Blackburn where they are in the league. You know, he's a very experienced manager, like I said, and he'll do his homework and suss out where to hurt us as much as possible. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this game. Like I said, it's going to be end to end, I reckon. A lot of attacking threat in this Blackburn team, same as Cardiff. You know, especially these youngsters coming through. You know, obviously, Harris is going to be, you know, an important player for us today.
Yeah, two teams are out, as you can see down beneath us in the grandstand. Blackburn in their change strip of all yellow with blue trim. The Bluebirds head to toe in Cardiff blue. And it is a settled Blackburn team, and why wouldn't it be with the form they're in? Was Cardiff make changes? We mentioned Cody Drammer comes in. We're yet to see whether he will start on the right or Perry and G will start there, but one of them will be on the left, one of them on the right, one of them will have to play on their opposite side. There's changes in the midfield also, where Ryan Wintle comes back into the team to join Will Vaulks and captain Joe Rolls, and Mark Harris, as Joe Ledley alluded to, though, gets the start alongside James Collins this afternoon, having netted that extra time winner against Preston in the Cup a week ago. He has goals this season, not as many as he's like, but crucially, when he has had the opportunities, he's tended to put them away. You think of Stoke away, he can be a clinical finisher, Mark Harris, when afforded the opportunities. It's just Cardiff's problem has been creating those chances at times this season. Blackburn, they are riding a 9-game unbeaten run in the Championship into this fixture. They did lose last week to near neighbours Wigan in the FA Cup, but in the Championship they've been superb. They've conceded just 1 goal in the last 7 games, 6 clean sheets alongside that as well. So as you'd expect, it's a pretty settled Blackburn 11. They made the mid-season change to go from a front 3 to a front 2, and they were unbeaten since doing that in early November. That front 2 being 20 goals for the season so far. Ben Berrett and Diaz alongside Brighton loanee Reda Kadra, who is preferred instead of Tyrese Dolan, who started the season himself in incredible form. We are about to get underway. I must admit, that took me a little while to adjust. It's been a while since I've been able to hear myself commentate again like this. Unfortunately, an eerily familiar feeling, having commentated for far too long in an empty Bowl stadium.